pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we'll call to order. Vergennes City Council meeting, October 25th, 2016. And we are missing two councilmen, and we know that Mark's not going to be here, and then they arrive. And we have a visitor, but Timmy, you're part of our agenda, so we will, what we'll actually do is, let's just do the minutes and we'll get you up so you can go home. Okay?
Or stay.
Or stay if you want to really be entertained. So we have two sets of minutes. We have one that was corrected. We've got the minutes of September 13th.
I'll make the motion to approve those minutes.
Second.
Lowell makes a motion. Rennie seconds it. Do we have any additions, corrections?
Well, I have a potential one, I'm not
Okay.
quite sure. Under the paragraph, the winter parking ban ordinance,
Yep.
on the second page of that, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines down, it said, well, starting on the 5th line, Senior Alderman Perry agreed with Alderman Donnelly regarding flexibility for the police. And I thought I said, may not be, age, but the ordinance had no flexibility. I agreed with Lynn that there should be something for the police to be able to make a judgment. But
Maybe regarding a lack of flexibility?
But the ordinance has no flexibility, and I thought I had made some statement to that effect. Exactly what words, I don't know.
Okay.
I can add that, but noted, the ordinance has
There's no flexibility.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, that's fine. Yeah, I think I remember that conversation.
That's all I have.
Anybody else have any omissions or corrections? Okay, all in favor of the September 13 minutes as amended?
Aye.
Okay. And September
I'll make a motion to approve the September 27th.
27,
Second.
and Rennie seconds that. And do we have any changes to those minutes that anybody noted?
Minor one.
Okay,
Second page, Vergennes Revolving Loan Fund Committee.
yep,
Let's see, the third line up from the bottom.
yep.
Perry moved to approve, not approve, the recommendation. Oh, that's all.
Delete the D, huh? Okay.
Sorry.
Something else? Jeff, you didn't find anything?
I gave them to Joan earlier, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought that,
We
sorry,
thought.
sorry, I thought, there was an email that you sent, and I couldn't find, I thought you had said if you had some changes to get it to you ahead of time, yeah.
Yeah,
And I
and
couldn't
I
find the
couldn't,
email, and I'm
I couldn't
thinking,
open it.
Was I-
It
was I-
sent it to me.
was I imagining things or what?
So all in favor of the September 27th minutes as amended?
Aye.
Okay, those are approved. No citizen comments. So what we will do is move down to business 5D, Ryan Block LLC, demolition of storage building, and I'll let Mel talk about this in your packet with some information, which is from what, planning?
Actually, the page 112 here is from our zoning and subdivision regulations, and this page is specifically for the central business district. We actually, demolition is no longer exempt activity under our zoning regulations. But I would also note that in the historic neighborhood district and in the central business district, there is specific standards as it relates to demolition. And the way that the regulations are written is that in the historic neighborhood district, the city council is not involved with demolition. The DRB deals with those matters. And I really can't remember, maybe there's other members on the planning commission that might remember why the central business district involves the city council, but it does, or may, I should say that it may. So you can see here that the city council is involved when a building contributes to the historic and architectural significance of the central business district. And the reason why I'm bringing this to the city council is for you to be aware that the DRB has an application from the Ryan Block involving the demolition of a building and the reconstruction of a building, and wanted to get this to the city council, and my recommendation to you is to deem that this subject building does not contribute to the historic and architectural significance of the central business district. That way, the city council, in essence, has signed off, if you will, on the demolition of this particular structure. And that way, there's no question when this does get to the DRB. And so, anyway, I included, I didn't give you everything of Timmy's packet, but I gave you this, I gave maybe his application. There's a picture in there, just so you know which building. So specifically, if you are going down the alley between the Ryan Block and the building just to the north, and you go down that alley there's this brown building kind of off to the left. You don't go directly into it. So Timmy can maybe just explain what his project is.
And one of the things that Mel and I noted the other day we were talking about this is that that building is not on the fire insurance.
Not on the
map.
October 2010, excuse
No,
me, Jesus,
what?
not on the October 1910 insurance map.
So it's built after that.
So we know, you know, I'm not necessarily saying that a building that's 90 years old we don't care about, but I can tell you this building is not over 100 years old. And Timmy may know when it was built. I don't know.
Your great-grandfather didn't build it? You don't have a receipt for that?
All I can think is the JWD Ryan established themselves in 1908, 1909, and they bought it from their uncle who owned the business since 1887. So they probably had enough business, they said, we gotta build a storage building.
There you go.
And maybe it was built in 1912, 1914. Liz might know. And this is really Liz's project, as Mel knows. Mel's been very helpful working with Liz, and Liz put together the application for myself and Liz.
So we need then a motion.
So your options, you know, could be, you know, the city council could go conduct a site visit and you know, take a magnifying glass out, take a look at the shiplap on the side of this building, and you know, really, you know, it says historic and architectural significance of the central business district. So if you're ready to by motion deem that it doesn't, you can do that tonight, or you can, you know, you could have a site visit.
I initially thought, Tim, it was the building right behind, you know, your office.
And Matt spent a lot of time recently.
Back
In that
there.
alley.
In that alley, right?
I did have an opportunity today to go take a look at the building, and no offense to the Ryans, it does not contribute to the historical or the architectural vibrancy of Vergennes, and therefore I would make a motion to approve the Ryans, or whoever this is going back to, request to demolish and rebuild.
Okay, well, that's
I'll
clear.
second that.
Motion made and seconded. Anybody else have any questions of anyone here, or of Tim, or of Mel?
Do we need to say in this motion that it's not deemed to have historic or architectural, what was the?
I think that's what it should say.
Yeah.
That the building be
Joan,
deemed to-
put that quote in there, so we know exactly what it's in reference to. If there is no further discussion, we'll vote on it. All in favor of Matt's motion as presented? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None?
And Tim, if you're gonna demolish it, can you wait until after April 1 so we can get one more year of taxes?
Unless you want to build the other one quickly and have it up by April 1st, then that would be more money.
So it's best to have it level.
Yeah.
and built after April 1st.
Yeah, you'd figure it out.
He knows the deal.
Yeah, Waltham Select Board certainly knows that rule.
And we know that the DRB will make sure that the new building is in total compatibility and scale with
I
the
mean,
rest of the.
my whole goal was to not leave that as an eyesore. And it's like, we need to raise the elevation, and why spend $50,000 to raise an eyesore? So we're gonna take it down and build something very similar, wherever Liz.
And the use remains the same, Tim, is that correct?
What's that?
Storage, the use remains the same for storage?
Actually, storage, yes, and then Liz is gonna develop a little area that she can paint furniture and keep
For the shop,
a
great.
closer eye on me by.
Well, that sounds good.
So we're all
Okay,
good?
you're done, Tim, thank you.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
So we'll move back down to 5A, Up Vermont appropriation, the annual appropriation that we approved, and it's how much this year, Mel?
Well, they have a chart.
It's a sliding scale
suggestion.
calculation, isn't it?
And I really think that we have been allocating $150. And so that's their guide. And in the past 2 years, Lowell has been the city's coordinator.
Yep.
So,
So, somebody make a motion, or I can make a motion about, is Lowell gonna be the coordinator this year? I mean, is there any co-coordinator?
well, Craig Minor has in the past. I don't know that Craig participated this year, but, Lowell's got it down.
Yeah, and I'm
so-
around, usually I helped out a little bit and so on, so we can cover it. It's amazing how little garbage we got this year. It's definitely gotten better, particularly down by the river.
The wind was really good last year. I'm not sure.
So I make a motion that we appropriate $150 to Green Up Vermont and appoint Lowell Bertrand as the coordinator.
Second motion.
Motion made and seconded by Matt. And does anybody have any discussion? You're willing to do this without it being, you're having your arm twisted?
Yes.
Same salary.
Same salary.
How can I argue?
Why don't we double this salary? Yeah, we should give him a raise and also a gesture. All right, all in favor of the,
Who seconded?
Matt.
I did.
All in favor of the $150 contribution to Green Up Vermont and having Lowell as the local chair, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Thank you, Lowell. We have another appropriation to discuss, Front Porch Forum. I think you're all familiar with the Front Porch Forum.
We think, Bill, it's possible that Joan has received an email like this in the past from Front Porch Forum, maybe. And if we did, we just didn't do anything with it.
Yep.
This year, I will tell you that Joan, we do use Front Porch Forum.
We do, yeah.
To notify the public, so,
Yep.
Front Porch Forum, it's not a nonprofit corporation, it's a for-profit corporation. But they are, seeking contributions from town, so it is something that we use as a means of communicating, and I don't know that we have a number for you, but anyway.
I just say that, and I don't know whether this applies to towns, but Front Porch Forum actually charges. If you're like a nonprofit for the Vergennes Partnership, you're allowed so many
5, yeah.
posts per month. And if you go over that, then you have to pay. And so we pay an annual fee so that we can post more often than was allowed free. So I don't know whether they do the same thing for cities and towns, but they certainly do it for organizations.
I don't know, they've never contacted me, it was only the email that I get, because I do post
You
on
post,
there?
I mean, I post as mayor
Yeah.
occasionally, not very often, but maybe once every couple of months or something.
Yeah,
We probably haven't exceeded the quota,
no,
Yeah.
no, I'm sure we haven't in a month's time, we don't.
yeah. Does anyone have any thoughts about this in terms of monetary amount or whether or not we want to do this? Matt, what do you think?
I think it serves a very important, it serves as a very important information vehicle, not only for city administration, but for our constituents as well. And I would say that a amount of money should be appropriated as to how much I'm open to the board.
How about you, Rennie, in terms of just the appropriation? Should we do it, or, well, let's do that first, then we'll talk
Yeah.
dollars.
Yeah, well, how often do we post?
Not real often, I would never exceed 5 in a month, ever. You know, I might put out like a reminder if a special meetings come up or something, taxes and sewer are due, that type of thing. I also put it on Facebook. If I put it on Facebook, I put it on the Front Porch Forum, and,
Mhm.
but I would never exceed 5 a month.
I think that that's the allowance is five.
Yeah, it is
Three.
like 5 a month. That is what it is with our auxiliary, we can post 5 a month.
I'm just wondering if any other city or town does it. I mean, when we're posting that little, I'm not so sure that we should be making a contribution unless it's just as a courtesy kind of a thing. Yeah, we support.
Yeah,
We want it to continue, because it's a good avenue to get word out to the public.
Yeah, I thought like $100 donation, just acknowledging we do use this service, but we certainly don't abuse it.
So Joan actually, when she printed this email, she originally circled $100 and put it on my desk, and
I
I
have a
said.
stamp on it. And
I said to Joan, I said, I want you to print me a new one, and don't circle anything. Let the city council decide. You know, I will tell you, Joan and I feel that Front Porch Forum it's important, and we use it. Frankly, I really don't know that I didn't know that somebody was keeping score. I read it, I don't use it, and certainly we could, but, sometimes Jimmy will,
Yeah, like when you're doing
things will
the-
come up. We have a road project
highway
coming up, so
project.
it is useful.
Yeah,
I mean, just, I'd recommend that if the city council, felt it appropriate to allocate money, I'd recommend that we send them a check for $100.
Then I'll move that we appropriate $100 for Porch Forum.
And I'll second.
Okay, we'll second. I didn't even get to ask you guys what you think, so you
Nope,
just have to vote
absolutely.
yes or no.
I'm for it.
Okay, and so discussion is over. And so we have a motion to contribute $100 to the Front Porch Forum. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None? Okay, good. Yeah, it's a good tool. I think it's worth, keeping them solvent. We go to 5C, correction of the 2016 grand list. This is another errors and omissions change, which just needs council approval. Mel, you're the
Yeah, maybe Matt,
assistant to
for-
listers, you
for,
can speak.
Just for, some members are aware of this, but for Matt, we do the grand list based on taxable property as of April 1 of any given year. And there is a provision in the statute that if a building gets missed or it has to be an error. It's not like, 3 months into the tax year, somebody thinks, I think their assessment is too low or too high or whatever. That's not what it's for. It's a very specific statute for an error, for errors and omissions, right? Because sometimes you could have for some reason, a whole property gets missed, right? And they didn't get a bill at all. In this day and age, I don't want to say that can't happen, but in the olden days, it could happen very easily because, the grand list used to be handwritten from the previous year's grand list, and so you could skip a property pretty easily. That doesn't happen to us. So in this instance, as this email explains, this one is totally my fault. When I put it on the punch list, I said outbuilding as opposed to an attached garage, and so when Ben went up to the property, he was looking for an outbuilding and couldn't find one, put a sticky on the front of it, and it went into the file, and it got uncovered that it wasn't a detached building, but rather an attached garage. So the listers have already approved this, but it requires city council approval to correct the grand list of this property at 191 South Maple Street from 182,100 to 198,600 for the attached garage that was omitted when filing the 2016.
And these changes have to be done before December 31st, so
Correct.
we have a little bit of time. And also, we will send them a change notice. They have the ability to appeal it if they want to. They'll have 14 days once they get the notice to do that, but hopefully, that'll play out as it needs to. So
Yeah, this isn't a surprise to them.
They know.
They know.
Good. Okay.
It's not gonna affect the potential sale of the property though, is it?
It's sold.
Yeah,
It's done.
yeah. So it didn't.
So,
I'll make a motion to amend the 2016 grand list accordingly.
okay. We'll make a motion, is there a second?
I'll second that.
We'll let Jeff have that second. And so we all understand it, it's just a correction of a error omission. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Done. Okay. Thanks, Mel. 5D, Ryan Block LLC, we've already taken care of. We'll move down to city managers. Mel, budget report.
Yeah, the budget report, actually, it's, we're getting towards the end of October, and it actually starts to take shape. Having a few months into it here, we actually just paid our second quarter contribution to insurance, and so, that's on a calendar year basis. So anything that's related to property and casualty workers' compensation, that number should be, if budgeted property, should be in the vicinity of 50%, one way or the other. So we feel pretty good about that. So we're okay. There is a little, we have spent more money than we anticipated on police vehicle repairs. I can tell you that the new vehicle didn't come quick enough. So we did have to put some money into our vehicles. The one thing that we never really talked about, the two cruisers, one cruiser is here. I think George probably wasn't aware that we meet at 5:30 now, George.
I did, I had a call I had to go to, otherwise I would have been
So
there.
one of the new cruisers is
Is here.
here. So at the end of the meeting, hopefully there's a street light out here, we can take a look at it. The other one is actually at Yike Stripes, and we'll be back soon. And so when you see these cruisers, it's not an old sedan. These are nice, and be very nice for not only the winter time, but the room in them. Not that the bad guys are getting bigger, but they really are. It really is really good design. So anyway, George is pleased with how these look, and I think you'll be impressed as well.
Okay.
So budget-wise, I feel okay at this point. Winter's around the corner.
Anybody have any questions of Mel? Any comments? I noticed one thing, under parks maintenance, we're going into winter, we only spend 13% of the 15,000, which I think is good. And maybe over the winter time, we can kind of, use our master plan study to prioritize how we might spend some of that money.
But you know what, parks and maintenance, at 15,000, how did we, the tennis court resurfacing, did we, I don't think that we, is that watershed?
Watershed fund, yeah.
The recreation, not it.
Yeah, because I can tell you that's what that 15,000 in part might have been for, so.
Well, anyway. So anyway, I mean, it's good that we have a little bit of extra there, and we can do something with it, or
Yeah.
maybe you can use it as a matching for something else if we can get a grant.
Yeah.
Okay, budget report. Development Review Board decision.
Yeah,
You can-
what as I mentioned to Bill late last week, I wasn't sure whether or not to put B, Appeal of Development Review Board decision under my report, or put it up under city council business. And the reason is, I gave you a copy of the Development Review Board's decision. I gave you a copy of the appeal by Mahawi, which is an affiliate corporation of David Schlansky. I wanted to make sure that the city council was aware of this appeal, because there will be some legal fees. And let's say if the city council was to read the DRB's decision and read the appeal and felt, whoa, wait a second here, I'm not sure about this. If the city council could decide to not represent, if you will, the DRB's decision. Let me tell you that there was a requirement that the city enter an appearance, and Jim Womet did that yesterday within the 20-day period. We are what's called an on-the-record community because of our way that our zoning regulations are written. Any decision of the Development Review Board involves a public hearing, it involves a recording, and when there's an appeal, that recording goes to the judge, and we are on the record. So I don't see this as being where Womet is going to start, engaging expert witnesses and all this type of thing. It's an on-the-record decision, and the judge, I would suspect, would conduct a site visit and review the record and rule, all right? So that's what's going on there.
Now, maybe I read through this too fast, and that could be, and I missed it, but I thought the applicant gave two modes of how the fencing could be done.
Yeah,
Existing fencing repaired, or
yeah,
to have a new fence put in that was as closely similar as possible to the fencing around Pump House Island.
yeah,
And then the board then decided to go with the new fencing
yeah,
similar to Pump House Island.
that's correct.
So what is being appealed? I mean, the applicant in their letter to the board said you can do this or this,
Right.
and they chose one of the things that was in the applicant's letter. So what are we appealing?
What are they appealing?
What are they appealing? Yeah.
I'm sensing that even though they presented that as an either or.
They changed
I don't know. I don't want to speculate, but, so I'm just going to jump right to where we're at, all right? Even though it was an either or proposal, and the DRB opted for what they opted for, the appellant does not agree that the DRB had the authority to condition that under our regulations. Now, it does seem
So it's
like a little...
legal technicality.
Yeah, it does seem a little strange that somebody says, I'm going to give you two options, A or B, and you select B, and they appeal B.
Right.
It's like, if you're going to appeal B, why'd you give us the option? But it is a little strange. So, and the other part of the appeal about the certificate of occupancy, and we actually use those, not all the time, but quite often, we use a CO. So I don't know why they're appealing that condition. So again, they're not appealing the permit, they like the permit,
Yeah.
and that
That's what
it
they
did
said,
get
yeah.
approved, but they don't, they're appealing the conditions of the permit.
Okay.
So I guess we'll just sit back and wait and see what happens, and you'll keep us apprised of
Yep.
how this plays out?
Yep.
Okay. Commodore Drive.
Just want to let you know, if you haven't been to Commodore Drive, the base coat of pavement is down on phase one. So the road base, curbing, sidewalk, tree planting, roadside tree planting, and the first coat of pavement is down. I've instructed Womet to draft a deed for the first phase. I believe the city council a number of months ago agreed that they would take that development in phases. And what we will likely do is take it over without the top coat of pavement, check. We will have that's what we did with Hopkins Road, the sidewalk, where they wanted to sell the last lot, and you couldn't do a sidewalk in the middle of January, and so they would cut us a check for $3,000, we'd hold on to the money, and then when the sidewalk gets done, we release the funds. So that's how we plan on doing that. So we would end up, I've already sent Jim Lamette an email requesting that he prepare a warranty deed for that first phase of the road. And that way, the property owners in that first phase are on a city street. Sometimes it gets, banks get nervous, and then, so I just want to let you know that we will soon be taking over phase one of that.
Right?
I assume that either by certification of the engineers that they have or somebody that we send, that somebody has deemed that the road was built to our specifications before taking it.
I would, obviously, the company, Dan, or Dan is the lawyer. O'Leary is the engineering firm that did that. So certifications, sewer certifications, record drawings, we will have all of that. So there was, it was fully engineered. You're wanting to make sure that it was built to spec.
Right. That way we're not taking a street that was not built appropriately.
Well, just check on that.
Yeah, I'll check with Peter
Make sure that's-
just to see, if their engineers will certify to that effect, yeah.
Okay. Revolving Loan Fund.
Yeah, I just wanted to report to you that, was it on Friday, Joan? We had a closing on Friday, right? Revolving Loan Fund?
Yes,
Yes. Okay.
Yep.
So I just want to let you know that we have closed on this loan, and I just wanted to let you know the structure that we put this loan in. The city council approved a $95,000 loan at 5%, at 4%, in a 10-year loan. The way that we structured this loan is that we released $75,000 minus $500 in legal fees, minus a $25 application fee, and minus $50 in recording fees. And so there was a check in your warrant there that has been cut to Lincoln Geronimo in the amount of $74,425. And what Lincoln Geronimo will be paying is interest-only payments through June 17th. And at which time based on $75,000, and then effective July 17th, they will pay interest-only payments through October 17th on $95,000. That's on the assumption that the streetscape project would be done by the end of June. And then the loan, the $95,000, is amortized over the remaining 9 years. So that's how we set that up. It's not exactly, the city council's motion said 4%, 10-year. I just want to let you know that's how we've structured this.
Well, it makes sense, given the grant and the streetscape.
Yeah, and it
improvements
gives,
so on.
Ian, a period of time where he's not paying any principal payments in that first year. So we all know that startup is the toughest part, and so that's how I ease the pain, if you will, by that structure. Swimming pool inspection, I'm going to say 3 Fridays ago, Steve Vergennes from Aquatic Development Group came here, conducted his inspection. He was here for about 2.5 hours. I was with him. I made arrangements for John Emerson to be there. Jim Laird will be there. Brad Castillo will be there. And Mark actually came, I'm going to say, for 45 minutes or so. Marconi came for about 45 minutes. This guy is sharp, really. just, you know, he knows pools. But he really knows about water parks, all right? I mean, this is a pool, I mean, so, you know, this is fairly simple to him. But anyway, it was really beneficial to listen to him. And I don't know exactly how quickly they'll turn this report around. So as soon as we get that, we'll certainly share it with you. I will, you know, I can tell you that he was very impressed with the condition of the pool, knowing that it was 51 years old. Let me just say that he was really impressed with really the pool has been drained except the B part, so you can really see it. So he's impressed with that. But, you know, we learned some things operationally. There's going to be a fair amount of safety signage that were recommendations that will come out of that. The level of that we keep the pool, as Bill mentioned, that one time Dustin thought it was strange that.
Yeah, he mentioned that the level was not what he thought it should be.
Yeah.
Indeed, that might be the case.
And so, anyway, he's told us that this particular design of gutter system, the operating level of the pool really should be here and not, you know, 2 inches lower, and it actually will end up saving on vacuuming time, and you get a little better mix. So anyway, so I you know, I don't want to go into all the details.
So we'll get that when it comes. And
Yeah.
good. Okay.
Tennis court resurfacing, I just want to let you know that Vermont Tennis, they came, there was a day last week or so that it was 80 degrees. If you remember the day, that was the day they were here, all right? So they came and did all of the crack filling, and they actually painted over the white lines where they filled cracks. So that's done, and then they'll come back in the spring and get that taken care of. VOSHA inspection, I just kept that on the agenda. I don't want to say that no news is good news, but I do fully expect to receive a citation, and that doesn't come in the form of something you put on the wall. You know, I really think that is forthcoming. I'll certainly share that with you when it does come in. You know, Jim Larrell, you know, I had one unmarked chemical container. Obviously, that chemical container has been marked now. There was, you know, a list of items at the wastewater treatment plant, and I believe that Rick has addressed all of the issues that were brought up during that. And obviously, when we actually get official, you know, we'll go through those again, and I'll let you know exactly what's in that report. The other two items I wanted to mention is, if any of you have been on South Maple Street, you may have seen some road closed signs. And Maple Street, a portion of Maple Street is going to be closed for November 1, 2, and 3. We got our structures grant to replace the culvert that is just south of the intersection of South Maple Street and Victory Street, you know, and as South Water Street comes up, that old box culvert is totally shot. And so we got a $45,000 structures grant from the state of Vermont that it's not a matching grant, it pays $45,000. You know, obviously if the project ends up costing more than $45,000, it's on our nickel. What was very good is that, you know, Jim has been spending a fair amount of time and money televising sewer lines, and the sewer line that goes underneath that box culvert was televised and found not to be in very good shape, clay tile pipe, and so we are incorporating replacement of the sewer main underneath that 80 feet of culvert as well. So, you know, I feel bad about, you know, I mean, really, if you think about if you're on the other side of that street,
Commute is quite a lot. Commute is
unless you got a boat, you know, a good one, you know, you're in trouble. Now,
They can't go through the cemetery?
you know, you know, it's a one-lane road. I don't really want to go there. Bill, it's not our road.
I know.
So but anyway.
Some people probably.
You know, obviously, we posted the notices that it's gonna be closed on November 1, 2, or 3, and of course, we hope that we can do this in a day and a half, but it's gonna be what it's gonna be. You know, they will work long hours, you know, to, you know, because we don't want that road closed for 3 days, but there's no way to do this project half and half, you know, so anyway, that's that. And lastly, is that VB2 has filed an appeal of their 2016 appraisal, right, Joan? So
BCA decision.
the BCA decision. Yeah, appeal the BCA decision. So it's not a city council matter. It's, well, actually, it's, yeah, it's,
Well, we're members of the
you're a
BCA.
member of the BCA, so anyway, you know, that came in, Joan nails it up, and we'll keep you posted as to the date of that hearing. So that's all I have. George is here with a new cruiser.
Okay. Are you here to give us to show us the cruiser? We're gonna go
Absolutely, that's
joyride?
why I'm here.
All right. And the only thing that I would like to mention is that this Saturday is Pumpkins in the Park from 3 to 5 p.m. And there'll be pumpkin judging at about 4 and lots of delights for kids and so on. So I hope to see this, and the weather's good, please come out. And I think that is our business for this evening.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Second.
Can someone please second it? Thank you, Renee. All those in favor? Aye. Thank you. Good night.